dude. No, stop. Are you live right now? Just say psych right now.
I actually don't think the thumbnail is that bad.
That shit's garbage.
It's actually not that bad. Maybe too many words, but otherwise it's a pretty good thumbnail.
Yeah.
By the way, I have us on screen right now. They can see you looking at your phone.
Oh, sorry.
Wow. Fake.
I'm actually
JJ.
looking at something important though.
Oh, what is that?
So I won't say who because obviously I don't want to dox anyone or nothing. But one of my coworkers, during the flood, they didn't lose their house. It's still recoverable, but like the basement all fucked up, and there was a bunch of mold and shit. So the insurance wasn't going to help with that, and basically they well, they didn't set up a GoFundMe. My boss actually did. Her and her husband, so to help out and stuff like that. And right now, they're about halfway toward their goal. So she was just posting an update on how everything's doing and stuff like that.
That
So.
sucks, bro.
Yeah.
One of the companies
Southbury got hit pretty bad.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. I know that. I knew that. I knew like the whole Fairfield County just got destroyed by the rain.
Yeah.
Last week, right? That was last week.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember seeing anything that crazy ever around Connecticut. Like the last thing I remember we had those like what do you call the windstorms? What the fuck are they called? Not hurricanes. Was it a hurricane?
Storm?
Maybe. But like, like I feel like it was the 2010s. Like
with Sandy
every
Hook
once in a while.
Not Sandy
yeah,
Hook,
yeah.
Not Sandy Hook. That was the tragic shooting.
No.
I'm talking about Hurricane like
Katrina?
Hurricane Sandy.
Sandy, that's it. Yeah.
Hurricane Sandy. That's why I mixed the two up because
Sandy. Yeah. I got you.
There were a couple of tropical storms that happened, and they were typically in like the middle of the like they were like in October, November.
Yeah, but I feel like nothing. I mean, maybe they were as bad. Maybe I just don't remember.
You probably just don't
clearly
remember because you were like 11 or 12 at the time.
Yeah, true. Like I remember that's when we had to like so all these hurricanes happened. We didn't buy a fucking generator, and then we bought a generator and then barely used it. Because there was like a solid like 5-year period where it's like bam, 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 bam. It was like holy shit.
Yeah, no, it was pretty much every year we had like some sort of like bad
one major
storm that like caused us to like lose out on like a holiday. Because I specifically, he has to go, but what is he doing? He's closing his door. Oh, what a loser! Closing your door, fucking. Dweeb.
They can't know we got the writers tied up in there.
Yeah, did one of their heads poke out? Is that why you noticed?
Yeah, fucking try. Hey, hold on.
He's gonna beat one of them up. That's what he always does. He always hits them. Oh, they're talking. Did he spit at them? He definitely spit at them. That's what he does. His little thing at the end is he spits on them. You spit on them right at the end.
Dude, they keep asking for food. It's really fucking annoying.
Yeah,
and I gave them the water in the bowl like you asked.
Dude, they're lucky to be living under a house at least, bro. They shouldn't be asking for food. It's kind of low key fucked up with them.
You're so annoying. It's so annoying. And they want like rights and like to start a union now.
Oh wow! Speaking of, that's what we're talking about today. JJ, welcome to the stream. What's going on, man?
Yeah. Wait, y'all didn't see Plumber's Crack, did you?
Plumber's.
You saw a little bit. You saw a little bit.
I didn't see your butt. No, we didn't see your ass crack. No one saw your ass crack. I'm just saying. I was just saying, like, welcome to the stream, JJ. How are you?
Oh yeah.
Get us out of our cold open and get us into the stream. Clearly, look. dude doesn't stream for 1 week and he doesn't know how to fucking know how to get back on topic. Start the topic actually. But hey guys, welcome to the stream. JJ, what are we talking about this today?
We are talking about not happy things. We are talking about Bungie layoffs, and we are talking about the saga after, right?
SAG-AFTRA.
After him.
AFTRA.
AFTRA. Okay, sorry.
What a scab, dude. What a fucking scab.
Dude, I'm so sorry. The thing is, I know these things happen. I don't know the details on them, so I'm hoping you can inform me on.
Yeah, I know kind of like the general gist of why they're on strike. But we'll get into it when we talk about that section.
But yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. So, but JJ, we're kind of focusing this a little bit on video games. There's one section today that we're going to talk about that isn't about video games. It's about something that you read over the week. We'll start with that we'll talk about that towards the middle of our program here today. But I want to talk about some of the games that you're playing right now and the game that you're very excited to talk about. I know these two games, and I'm pretty sure the audience at least knows one of these games. So we're going to jump right into... Let me also make sure I'm streaming this on Discord so you can see what I'm looking at on stream. But...
Beautiful.
Yeah, so we are going to talk about first Black Myth Wukong. So, JJ, you've been playing the fuck out of this. Just to give some context, though, to people who don't know, this game came out the end of last week, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so this game came out at the end of last week, and it is doing gangbusters. It was made by Game Science. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hold on. Keep talking.
All right. I'm going to just keep talking. He's got to figure out his shit. Black Myth Wukong was developed by a Chinese developer called Game Science Interactive Technology, and they are just killing it in terms of games, in terms of the game they made. Currently is sitting at an all-time peak of 2.4 million players. It is... the last 24 hours it is about almost 2 million. We got about already right now roughly like 250,000 people playing, and that's right before work hours are over. So this game, as you can see, its peaks in these valleys here, at these peaks here, it pretty much consistently around like 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening it bounces back up. And that's because of the Chinese people are saying that this game is like it's not a good game because of this, which is just false. It's just like a majority of people playing this game are Chinese, so just kind of keep that in mind. Which is why you see such high player counts and low player counts right now. So yeah.
I missed that last part. Say that again.
This game,
about the player count.
The reason why the player count drops so drastically every day is because the majority of the player base is in China. So China has like a curfew on video games, so people can play it up until a certain time in China, and they cut off all the servers nationwide. So that way people can go to bed and wake up for work the next day. So that's why you see such high peaks and such low valleys. It's not because the game isn't interesting to people. It's just China is blocking their player base from playing the game. Dude. So it's kind of crazy. It's currently the #1 seller. It has a lot of positive reviews. I think it's the second highest player count of the year. And I think it even beat Pal World for highest concurrent players at one time. So that's really good, especially for a single player game like this. But JJ
came from China too, right?
I think just the CEO is Chinese. I don't think or Asian, I should say. I don't think the developer itself was Chinese, but I can look that up real quick. But JJ, why don't you go ahead and you're the one playing the game, so why don't you tell me what's going on, how you like it? I just kind of gave an interlude on it.
Yeah, it's really fun. I think people seem generally positive on it, but the one thing that I think people should know going in is, yeah, it's hard, but it's not technically a Souls game. It's more comparable to the recent God of War games. But it is linear, but it's not bad because, it's not this big open world like Elden Ring, right? It's like there's chapters. You're in this part of the world for this chapter, but there's still exploration and stuff. Like chapter 3 right now, I'm like 5 hours in. I'm not even like done with it yet. And a lot of it is just it's a boss rush basically. It's like you move to an area, you beat a boss, move to an area, find secret bosses and stuff like that, and you level up. But you never get to a point where like you're super over leveled, where you're just destroying enemies. It always keeps it pretty balanced. Maybe you get a little bit of an edge, but like nothing crazy. But yeah, man, it's really fun. You could switch stances and stuff like that, depending on what fighting style you want to go for. It's based on Journey of the West, which Dragon Ball
based off Dragon
is
Ball.
loosely based on.
Based off of Dragon Ball. It's ripped off
Dragon Ball is based
Akira
on
Toriyama
an 18th century series of novels.
Nope. This is based off Akira Toriyama's work. I know that because there's a flying Nimbus.
It's funny seeing
real
streamers.
Quick, Palworld's developer is a Pocket Pair, and they are in Japan. So look at us being racists over here. So you were saying streamers are doing what?
It's funny to see streamers. Like there's the opening scene, and the Sun Woog, which is the main character, or well, not really. Like he's the main. He's the first character you see on screen, and he's flying on a cloud, and like, yo, they got Nimbus in the game.
yeah, they got.
That's so funny.
That's what I'm saying. They got the flying Nimbus, so I'm just like, yo, they're stealing from Dragon Ball. That's from Dragon Ball right now, bro.
Especially with the staff with Son Goku. Son Goku came up with this staff that's really long.
Yeah, Goku first came out before this game, so this is clearly
Goku
a lie.
the manga.
This is definitely Goku's video game.
Yeah, a ton of misinformation. But have you heard the crazy controversy with the game?
Yes, the female, crazy, the one reviewer that was like, while his overall review was relatively positive about the game, he had like one paragraph that was just like, yeah, they didn't have women for like 2 chapters.
Yeah, yeah. Which is and even I guess the terms I don't know. Just from what I've heard in videos I've seen, but like for review copies they sent out, they were like, you're not allowed to talk about feminist propaganda, which is weird because when playing this game, no feminist theory came into my head while playing Black Men.
Well, just because you hate women, JJ. That's the
right.
Whole point.
Well, there is
that.
Women. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with you there. Trust me, pal. No, but yeah, which is just a weird but it was so specific to that, and it's like, why not just say, because they had politics in there, which women's rights shouldn't be political, but it kind of in a general way falls under that thing, but they specifically said no women's issues, which is like, what?
Yeah, it's just weird. Why is that? Why worry about that? But I guess let's be honest, nobody fucking cares, because I mean, look at this. Nobody cares.
Yeah, I didn't give a shit.
No one.
IGN was
that.
Crazy with their review, and then the second it came out, he's like, "Here's a walkthrough of all the secrets in Chapter 1," and the comments are just lighting them up on the IGN walkthroughs. It's like, damn, you guys already coming out with a playthrough in a game that you said sucked.
What did they review the game at?
They, I think they put it 7 or 6. I think.
That's crazy.
I think it's probably. I'm really enjoying the game. I'm about 15 hours in, maybe.
They gave it an 8 out of 10, so I think people are just being a bunch of
people are
babies.
overreacting. I think because in the cons list or something they put not diverse enough, and it's like, that's Games Radar. I think that's
Games Radar said
because they did a 3. They gave it a 3 stars out of 5, and I think one of the cons was not diverse enough. When
I don't
every
think
single
IGN
character
does.
pretty much is an animal, besides a couple Buddhas here and there. Well,
yeah, I mean,
no, there's Dragon Lady.
if you let's see here, they give it a 4 out of 10. Games Radar.
Oh, did they update the fucking rating? That's crazy.
I don't know if they updated the rating, but
yeah,
I wouldn't know.
but,
I didn't. I only know about the controversy.
yeah.
I just know that the guy was like, I really like the game, but not enough women. So
No,
so,
they
yeah.
had to get rid of the author's name because they were just like, oh
Okay,
shit,
so then
like
that's
he's
not
getting
the
a lot of
article
hate.
because his name is still on it. His name is still on it.
Is it the editor or the
I
author?
don't. I have no idea. I have no idea,
Anyways,
my friend.
but yeah, no, game's
So you're
really
saying this
good.
isn't really like a Souls like? This is more just like an action RPG.
Yeah, with you know difficulty within the fact that like you're gonna die a couple times, and then once you get the hang of a boss, then it's doable. It's not like it has some bullshit Souls shit where it's like 5 really hitting mini enemies like near a gate, and it's the only way in, and there's not another checkpoint for a couple minutes, so it's like fuck.
Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, it's really fun. I think it's accessible. Really good. One of the only good things to come out of China recently. But
what's been bad that's come out of China, JJ?
I don't know, the censorship.
Oh well, okay, I guess there is the Chinese Communist
I don't know,
Party.
the curfews, the lack of freedom of expression and ideas.
Why does that surprise you? They are a dictatorship.
It doesn't surprise me. I'm just saying.
They are an authoritarian regime. Like,
yeah,
it's makes sense.
Yeah.
But would you recommend
but it's a really good
JJ?
game. I would. If you like single player, just and you like fighting bosses and stuff like that. There's a lot of bosses in this. Then yeah, I would definitely recommend it. There's, it's any beginning of these tougher games is hard because you're getting your groove into it. Like I was facing up this one boss and it took me like an hour to just beat, but totally worth it. I highly recommend it.
But there's another game that you're super hype about, which I know a lot about too, and I'm very hyped for this game. This game is, let me just scroll up on it before I fucking reveal it on screen. It is
Space about the game or Warhammer?
2. I know about both, but I know more about the game.
Okay.
I know that Warhammer is a board game. Like you build your own.
Yeah, you build your own
characters,
squad.
an army. You can customize them with painting and all of that, and you can build your own mythology around it. It's kind of like an anime action figure collector's like D&D essentially.
Kinda, yeah. It's like D&D with a lot more, like D&D, but with a lot more rules.
Yeah. And Warhammer has a lot of games. I know they came out, I think last year with Vermintide or something like that. The 4-player
that one was pretty fun.
PvE game. They had Space Marines 1 that came out a very long time ago, and now Space Marines 2, which was delayed last year. It was supposed to come out last year, but they delayed it to this year. Yeah. And I think they delayed it again this year because it's supposed to come out earlier in the year. Now it is coming out next
it's September
month. Yeah,
5th.
in a 9th, it says actuly on the screen. So you're clearly unread.
I'm not a gamer and journalist.
So yeah, I've only heard positive things. My favorite reviewer is excited for this game. He's actually my favorite reviewer during Gamescom. His quote was up on screen, and it was just like absolutely fantastic. Skill Up is his name.
Who's your favorite? Oh, Skill Up. Yeah.
I love that guy. He's awesome.
I'm super stoked because I've painted some of the minifigures. They're in my garage, though. I haven't touched them since I moved in. I just don't have the room to display them, really. But I am a big fan of Space Marines. Like 40K, that's where I put all my attention to in the lore and stuff. So much so, I brought these out for just to talk about.
Oh god, he brought his nerd shit.
There's 69, I think, or actually look up how many novels are in the Horus Heresy.
I will. Show us the fucking.
The Horus Heresy is the prequel to 40K. It's essentially Warhammer 30K. But these are the only Horus Heresy ones I have so far. I think I have, what do we got?
Horus?
6. Horus. Horus. So I got these guys right here. Bam.
The Horus Heresy.
The Horus Heresy. That's the prequel to the main universe. And I only have one actual physical 40K book, this guy. It's pretty good. It's pretty chunky.
Wow, that looks so cool, man.
But a lot of my books that I shut the fuck up. Sorry, I'm interested in something, you fucking asshole. We can't be lame and mowing the lawn like you, dick.
Yeah, no, when I was in New York, my friend was like, so how does it feel to be at the house? And I was like, I've never been more excited to buy a weed whacker. Like, I never thought I'd say that in my life, but like, I can't wait to edge up my yard and my lawn and like the sidewalk.
Dude,
too.
you're edging your yard? You're not letting it goon?
Dude, no, I would never goon my yard, dude.
You don't
Only
have to
edging it.
Skibbity Ohio Riz?
You're gonna kill me right now. You're actually gonna make me like you're
brain
gonna make me like, not even brain melt. I'm just gonna seize. I'm just gonna go like.
I'm just gonna. But actually, the majority, if you really want to get into Warhammer, keep an eye on this website called Humble Bundle, because every couple months, Game Workshop, which owns the license and pretty much everything surrounding Warhammer, comes out with either a bundle of audiobooks or digital books and stuff, and you can just get like 20 of them for like $20, even more than 20. It's usually like 30 audiobooks or 30 books in general, and you could just spend $20 on it and just go in deep on the lore. I have a lot of like fucking digital books.
So like, aren't these guys supposed to be like, they're essentially just like a dictatorship?
In a way, yeah. I mean, well, 40K is basically a parody of fascism, right? Because all right, let me do cliff notes here. So basically humanity, right? The Imperium.
Yeah.
Don't
get too much in the lore. Don't get too much into the lore.
This is just a basic setup. There was this ultra amazing atheist Redditor called the Emperor, right? He was like, fuck everything that has to do with religion. God is not real. Let's kill all these demons and aliens, mostly aliens, and just, take back mankind. And in doing so, humanity worshipped him like a god. And he was like, but I don't want that. And they're like, well, we fucking love you. So they dedicate churches to him and stuff like that. Eventually, I forget how exactly it happens, but he becomes this docile skeleton thing, right? And he has so much psychic power that him barely being alive, he's basically a skeleton on a throne, right? Okay. Humanity taps into his psychic ability in order to space travel. So once the Emperor dies, like officially dies, then space travel can't happen anymore. So they're like
when does
feeding
he die?
him through like a breathing tube. He hasn't. He won't. They have to keep him alive, otherwise the space travel is kaput. So he's lived for like thousands and thousands of years.
So my question is, why not just have him have sex? Like, does his powers not translate to like
because he's such a strong being that like conventional ways of having children would, before it even started, would cause. This is in the Warhammer lore. The woman would not survive the birth, basically, and like probably this son would die as well, or become an abomination. So what instead he does is he basically clones himself, genetically clones himself into like, I think it's 17 sons. There are some legions that aren't existing anymore, but like 17 sons, and they each take control of their own Space Marine fraction, right? And they're all parts of him. Kind of like Father in Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
Lust, greed, like kind of like that. In fact, one of them, I forget which Primarch it is, which is his son. One of them, they removed every other emotion but anger in his brain, so all he feels 24/7 is anger. Like, Warhammer is goofy with how dark and like fucked up it is, like to the point where it's comedy and funny. It's just so extreme you have to just laugh at it.
Yeah.
So basically, Space Marines, they kill heretics, anyone who is against the Emperor, anyone who criticizes the Emperor is getting iced. It's getting absolutely cheese whizzed. Okay, and that also involves anything that's non-human. So goblins, any alien life. They want to destroy everything that's not human in its path. They're like super honed in on that. So that's basically the backstory. They've already added classes to this game, and I'm so excited about that. They all look fucking awesome, and you can also color code what legion you want to be part of. So there's like the Ultramarines, which are the classic blue and gold ones. They're the Blood Angels, who are basically vampires because their Primarch is basically a vampire. So they all
these things on screen.
No, they're just let me see. Hold on, I'm looking at my phone.
The things based off of the game, like in the game.
Yeah, so like the Space Marines with red armor, those are the Blood Angels and stuff. So you could play any one of those factions. You could play a Black Templar, and stuff like that. It's awesome. But for the campaign, I think you're stuck with being an Ultramarine, which is fine. Ultramarines are cool. But for online play, you can like customize your guy to look whatever legion you want it to be. But yeah, I would highly recommend looking into Warhammer lore. It's so fucking like I pretty much just focused on the human side of things. There's a whole other universe out there of like focusing on goblins, chaos space marines and shit like that. It's awesome. But the gameplay itself, this looks like the replacement of Helldivers, unfortunately. Because Helldivers
a single player game.
Was good.
This isn't a multiplayer game.
No, it's multiplayer. You could go through the campaign on multiplayer mode.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
They're adding a PvE mode.
Oh, really?
Or there is, it's a PvE mode. It's not just a single player experience.
Wow. I didn't think this game was going to be like a live service game.
No, it's awesome. However, it's being developed by Saber, and they are known to do microtransactions up the wazoo. So,
we'll see
how that plays out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so this takes place. I'm guessing this takes place like way after all that shit you just described.
Yeah, that's all just setup. There's a lot more, but that's the bare bones of the setup. But what was I saying? Yeah, I'm super excited because like Helldivers had something, but then they nerfed a lot of weapons into PvE, and it's like the fun of a PvE is being with friends and just mowing down like these enemies and stuff. But they kept trying to balance the game as if it was like a competitive like COD game, and just like the maps weren't that diverse and stuff like that. So fortunately, Helldivers is kind of taking a nosedive, and they had that controversy with the PSN network and Steam and all that fun jazz. I think Space Marines is similar. Obviously, Warhammer came out first. It's been a thing since the 80s. Mm-hmm. But it's got that same kind of like, you know how like Helldivers is like, we have to defend democracy. That's when it's like, we must defend the Emperor. Anything else is heresy. Like I'm so fucking hyped for it, dude. But yeah, those are the two games I wanted to talk about. Are you interested in Space Marines 2 at all? Or are you going to wait to see? Now that Destiny is over, you don't have to play Destiny 2 anymore. You're free. You're a free man.
You know that's a lie.
You know, the final chapter, and then the next expansion is called Psych. We're never ending.
Well, actually, I don't really know because I technically haven't even finished Final Shape. Like, I still haven't played the raid.
Wow.
I haven't done the raid at all yet. It's just because, like, A, I'm busy with real life, and 2, I just have no interest in playing the raid. So,
damn. We got our boy to touch grass. Now he's mowing the grass.
I'm mowing
you
my
two
grass.
Nerds can happen.
Yeah, this could happen to you. You can be loved by a woman and mow your lawn.
You can be loved by a woman and mow your lawn.
Yeah,
damn, that sounds hype as hell.
For real. But we have another thing we want to talk about because this is something you just recently finished, and I reread around the same time you finished it.
Yeah.
This thing is gonna be hype. I'm gonna be making a video on it for the channel very soon before October. Dan. We talked about this briefly in one of the worst thumbnailed videos we've done on the channel. But JJ actually,
one of the best.
JJ finally finished it.
Yeah, I've caught up.
I want to gauge his thoughts on it. Dan, this show's about it kind of feels like it's towards the end of the show, towards the end of the manga. I know that it actually name dropped the fucking in the fucking last chapter.
Yeah.
So JJ, what are you thinking? We're gonna do full on spoilers for Dan. I just want to keep that straight up in mind because I want to hear JJ's unfiltered thoughts on this. So
damn. Okay. So spoiler free first. Read it. It's so addicting to read. That's why like I picked it and dropped it off so much. I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna spend all day reading this and I have other shit to do. Cause like I won't start something unless I'm gonna finish it all the way through. You know? I'm like a Marine in that way. I'm the Marines of manga.
You're the Marines of
I'm like
manga.
yeah, dude. Dan, it has everything I love. The supernatural and science fiction. It's aliens mixed with the paranormal, and it's just so fun. And like the main thing for me, I like a good story. I like a good plot. What's more important to me is characters, and if I like the characters. I could deal with a bare bones plot if the characters are interesting and their and their reactions to the things in the plot. That's why Full Metal works so well, because you pretty much love every single character in that. Dead is very much similar. I wouldn't say it's the same as Full Metal because Full Metal is god tier. But like its character work is really, really good, and like it's got a large cast, but like they still spend time on every individual character. Like it's not like a One Piece at this point where like
I was actually telling you
what the fuck is Chopper doing?
I was actually saying to you as like a similarity that at the very beginning of Dan, they do like the introductions to the core like 4 or 5 characters.
Yeah. It just keeps going. I keep adding more.
And then each new arc after that is kind of like similar to One Piece, where they have this grand adventure, and right before the fucking like climax of the story, they have like this backstory of the titular of like the main arc character. And you learn about their background and you kind of like understand where they're coming from and what really happened to them. And the crew just like gets fucking hype over that shit. Like the alien invasion arc, which I'm just going to dub that.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting her name, but
all gas, no brakes.
Vamolia's arc. We learn her story and how tragic it was, and all the and they have they literally have the fucking like
shoot the flag down.
Ides lobby. They have the fucking Ides lobby stands where all of them are standing, and then fucking Momo just being like, "Beat them up, boys," and then they all just fucking just wreck them, dude. It's awesome. Because you're right. Like I think what makes this story way more like refreshing compared to most other Shonen Jump stuff that are like a lot of, not most, but like a lot of the times, like right now in One Piece, like I'm not really intrigued by the characters but by the lore of the story because of the whole like, or the lore of the world, which is fine because we're finally fucking getting we're figuring out shit. But what I loved a lot about
we're past the prologue. We can now experience the One Piece, the actual story after 1,000+ chapters.
What I really liked about the early chapters of One Piece is like the character moments, like with Luffy giving Nami her hat, and the gang being like, "All right, so are we beating the shit out of the fucking fishmen or what?"
Arlon.
Arlon, yeah. The Arlon arc. That was my favorite arc. It's one of my favorite arcs because of just one, just because of that one scene, and it's just, and just like we mentioned the Ines Lavi stuff, like it's the characters that are driving the story, whereas right now it's the story driving the story.
How are you saying it? Say it again.
Ines Labi. I don't know.
Ennis Labi,
whatever.
You're dyslexic as hell. Actually, don't read books. I don't want you to read books anymore. That's embarrassing. Whatever. That's so embarrassing. That's so
what I like about Ennis Lobby is that it's being driven by the characters wanting. They don't give a shit that this is going to cause like massive waves for their crew or even the pirate world. They're like, we got to save Robin. Like that's it, Nico Robin. It's the only fucking reason we're doing this, and that's the same thing here. Like, yes, during that space and alien invasion arc, it's very much like, no, we got to stop these guys from killing us. Once they figure out that this is because they destroyed Vomala's world, they didn't give a fuck about the world, their own world. They were like, you fucked with our friend. Like, you fucked with somebody who we care about and love, and now we're gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, I also the female characters are really extremely well written, and the only reason why I point that out is a lot of Shonen Jump don't got the best female representation a lot of the time. Yeah. You know, and this one treats it with respect. There are a couple fan servicey stuff, like when they're in that school.
The first chapter.
The first chapter. Yeah. That one probably the worst of it, I think.
Not really. Like the first
early chapters.
The first 20 chapters or so are just like you see a lot of like panty shots and everything, and it's like, okay.
But it's not to like a Fire Force or Soul Eater level.
No, like, not like that, but it's kind of like because the whole thing, like the joke about it, like the whole plot of this is the main character, Ken, otherwise known as Okuran. He loses his testicles, and his testicles are like these divine spiritual energy objects that aliens are trying to use to take over the planet.
I just want to say this pisses me off because the author obviously took my real life experience and wrote a manga about it without mentioning it at all.
No, please elaborate on what you mean by that. How is this?
No, I mean because similar shit happened to me. You know, like some spirits took my balls, and then I had to fight to get them back.
Cut the mic. Cut them off. Cut them off.
The lawyers are coming after me. The Japanese lawyers are coming after me.
No,
we can't play the dun opening for fuck's sakes.
Oh yeah,
we have to remove that part of the TikTok video. Fucking, I was like, check out this hype opening, and then it cuts, and we're just watching something else. I'm like, God damn it.
And yeah, we could play the entirety of the fucking Space Marines trailer and not have any issues.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, what I like about this series is like seeing the group grow, and you even mentioned it when we were talking like back and forth when you were reading it. At the end of every arc, there's like a little like get together with the entire crew, and it starts out just the four of them, you know, Momo, Granny, Okuran, and then Turbo Granny. And then now it's up to like 15 different characters.
Yeah, that house is getting cramped.
Yeah, the house is huge. You've got the nerd otaku who eventually like actually becomes really cool. You've got the jock kid Gigi, who you think is like
the Evil Eye arc is awesome. I love that arc.
And our boy Okuran, you know, confessing his love to Momo. You know how hyped that gotta be, bro.
Finally, dude. Oh my god.
You gotta love when
I didn't think it was gonna happen till the very end, but like Dandadan's doing different shit.
That's what I'm saying. I love it. That's why I'm saying it's really close to the end, because not only does it name drop the story, the name of the story, but it also has Okuran like admitting his love for Momo, which
I just love that concept of like the reason why aliens haven't just wiped out Earth yet is because of the spirits, and it just shows that panel of like a bunch of spaceships in the background just like hovering over Earth. I'm like, that's so
and
sick.
It won't invade Earth because the alien the end of the space alien arcs was kind of like goofy because one fucking spirit was just like, I'm just kidnap them in my mirror and then beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, it was a bit of a Deus Ex Machina. Yeah,
but I mean, it was set up. At least it was set up. It was set up.
It was set up. Yeah.
It was set up like,
I thought that was just gonna be like a back alley demon. You know, I was like, oh, this is just for a little bit of a fun.
She's the most powerful. She's one of the most powerful spirits in the world. That even like Momo's grandma can't defeat her.
She's like, Momo, don't fuck this
Psycho.
up. I'm gonna take your boy.
Yeah, I would love for that to come back around. That would be so cool if like she shows up at the end as like one of the ultimate villains. And then like Saint Germain is also like very interesting because he's collecting demon powers.
Yeah.
Which is very cool. So it's also like, why does he want to get close to the group? What is he doing? Is he going to collect all their powers or something? Is he going to take over the world? What is Dan? Like, once we figure out what Dan is, I think we'll understand his motives more. Do you know about Saint Germain like at all? So he's a real life character. He's real. Saint Germain is based off a real person that people have mythologized being as somebody who's like really into supernatural stuff. He's in a lot of different TV shows and games. Like, for example, he's in Castlevania as a main character because like he's a time traveler in a lot of things. He goes back in time to give people advice and collect unique items because the real life person was a traveler. He went around, collected a lot of items and kept them in his home. Nobody knows who he really was though. He died mysteriously and nobody can really pinpoint how he died and who he is as a person, which is why they kind of like gave him this mythology of being like a time traveler and everything, because his death and the things he liked and what he was interested in was very occult and like and creepy. So a very interesting guy. So it's really cool to see him in this story because it's like, what the fuck? That's cool. It's something different, something weird. Which the whole thing is just fucking weird. It is
weird, but I love it.
And the art is fucking haunting.
Oh, it's on a different level.
It is like, it reminds me of Mirako-chan, which I've told you about. That horror manga.
Yeah.
Where like they're like the scene with Gigi waking up from his nightmare is like terrifying.
Yeah, that like smile guy. Holy shit.
Yeah. The smile guy and him just be like, I can't fucking sleep. This thing will not. I can't get it out of my head. Which I totally get. I totally get that where like you just keep picturing the same like creepy visual. Like for me right now, I'm rewatching Mindhunter, so like I literally can't.
Ooh, I love Mindhunter.
I can't watch Mindhunter in my house because I'll just get freaked out. I watch it at work.
Yeah. That's why that the real life story, although they exaggerated it for the movies. When I was a kid, The Strangers, where like they would kill you if you didn't answer the door when they knocked or whatever. I'm like, that's so fucked.
Yeah, that's I didn't even know it was the plot of the story.
There was the opening of
the door.
Yeah, like if they knocked and you like didn't greet them, they're like, all right, we're gonna break in and kill you now. But if you greeted them, they were like, oh, okay, bye. Which was actually I forget what book it was, but there was like a side tangent here real quick. There's like a true crime novel about one of the dudes who like first really dived into like the mentality of like serial killers and stuff. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I was talking to this guy and this is a different killer book. Yeah. I think it's the Mindhunter book or
the book
one of those guys. No, I don't think it's that book specifically, but it's one of the people because like in the show it looks like a small team, but they slowly obviously they grow. So a couple people from that group have written books and stuff. So I don't know if it's Mindhunter, but different serial killer, same scenario. It was one dude instead of a family. They would knock on doors, and if no one answered, they would kill him. But if they answered, then he was like, "Oh, okay, I'm not going to kill you." And like that was his motive, is just that and nothing else. So like at the end, he's like, "If you get anything out of this book, just lock your front doors."
Yeah,
like, it's like just fucking lock your doors.
That's genuinely terrifying. But
one of them, he said if the door was unlocked, he'd just go in and kill anyone in there. And he's like, oh Jesus Christ.
I mean, they're there to kill somebody if you're gonna let them get in easily.
Yeah,
kind of makes sense, to be fair. It's kind
of what are you saying there? Listen, if you leave your door unlocked, I think you're allowed to kill one member of the family.
If like the dude is there to kill anyways, like and he sees the door's unlocked, he's like, and he's just like, I guess I might as well do it. Then like,
but if it was locked, he's just like, it's too hard.
Yeah, I guess.
Top 10 laziest serial killers.
Yeah, no, deadass. But Dan is fantastic. The anime comes out in October, which is perfect for it because, like we were saying, the art is very horrifying. And not just horrifying, it is extremely detailed. Like there are some I'm because Jujutsu Kaisen's ending soon. I'm reading the last chapters, and they are not as detailed. Like, it is not detailed. It is genuinely so boring to look at.
It's more sketchy.
Yeah, you know? I'm reading Blue Box, which is a shoujo manga in Shonen Jump, and a lot of their panels are just the characters that are talking to each other with a white background.
Yeah,
it's lazy.
That's the easy scapegoat.
Whereas like Dan to Dan, like if the characters are talking, at the very least they still they have like little bubbles with their faces. Those
are my favorite. Yeah,
but they still have like a very detailed background for each panel. Like each panel has something in it. There's nothing.
Yeah, some of the city shots are crazy.
Yeah, the city shots are crazy. Yeah. You know, one of the ones that comes to mind always is the scene where who's the other chick?
Oh yeah, the dancing one. The one with the mom thing. Where she has a crush on the main lead, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, let me see if I can find her name.
I forget her name.
It's not Momo. Why am I blanking on her fucking name?
Oh my god, this is the worst podcast of all time.
I hate this already.
Jesus Christ. Feel in the airtime.
Ira. Her name is Ira. And they go to a music room in the school to practice their like fighting and to like go beyond like their current levels. And like when they get into the orchestra room where like the whole audience is there,
crazy.
Every face has a face. They're not unique, but at least they went to the detail of putting a face on every single character.
Yeah, and the room. Dude, he was an assistant for Chainsaw Man. So was Spy X Family, the creator of that. So, that's crazy.
Wow, I did not know that. I did not know that for both of them.
Yeah, it's cool. Well, I like texted you or whatever, but
no, I knew I knew the one about Dan to Dan, but I didn't know about Spy Family.
Spy Family, yeah. And Spy Family is just as good as when it started. Dude, talking about
we could have
grace. Oh my lord!
Did you watch Totally Not Mark's video about like what the big three means and like?
I have it saved. I haven't watched it yet though.
I don't want to spoil it because I think it would be a fun video to talk about, you and me, and maybe a whole ass podcast.
Haven't we talked about the big three before? Like what we think about the big three and stuff?
We both have.
Early on. Like probably like
very,
Sister Sheep days.
Yeah, like kind of 2-3 years ago at this point we talked about the big three. I think we both like agreed that it was like there is no big three. And in the video you'll see what he thinks the big three is right now. He kind of talks about the origins of the big three, like where they come from and the reality of the big three, which I think is really cool and interesting. But it would be fun. It'd be fun to talk about maybe next week. All of that, because this isn't Anime on the Rocks. This is a garbage take, and we're going to give you some hot takes on our titular items today, which we are starting off with the SAG-AFTRA video game strikes. Now, JJ, do you know anything about the SAG-AFTRA strikes?
I know that they're happening. I'm going to assume the majority of the complaints have to do with AI voices, especially because I think Amazon Games came out with something like I forget the exact wording, but it was like our games don't need voices in games or something like that, something along those lines.
Well, I mean, you know that the finals has AI voices. There's no
Is
voice
it really?
actors in that.
I didn't know that.
No voice actors in that game.
That's crazy.
The announcers are all AI generated, and I don't know if they've fixed that or have come around to that. But
who the fuck is playing the finals?
That's a whole other conversation.
Like 2 games maybe. I'm like, this is
like, you know how you were talking about fucking what's it called? Helldivers. It's the same fucking thing. But granted, that's just the life cycle of live service games. Like they boost up at the initial beginning,
at the peak, yeah,
and then they'll boost up every time they have an expansion, and then they'll go back to normal levels. Like right now, this is technically normal levels for them. Same thing with the finals. Like once they get a content update, that's when things will pick back up again. People are going to play it more. Streamers are going to hop back on it. And then after like a month and a half, 2 months, it'll go back to normal levels. So I'm not too worried about those games like you're kind of alluding to. But yeah, so the SAG after a video game strike. So ultimately, yeah, JJ, the biggest thing is they don't want AI. Amazon is one of the companies. EA, Activision, Ubisoft.
I'm not
they are
surprised if any of those companies you just listed.
They are all. I mean, hell, even like Naughty Dog and Santa Monica are companies that are alluding to
Naughty Dog.
Damn. Yeah, you do not recall the conversation that Neil Druckmann had about AI?
No. I mean, I know Neil Druckmann hasn't been in everyone's favor recently, but
so I think like at the beginning of the year, Sony had like an interview with a bunch of their creatives for like an internal investors slideshow, and Neil Druckmann was interviewed, and in one of his quotes, which was misquoted, to be fair, but he mentioned that the company is interested in incorporating AI.
I think I do remember hearing
into their projects and seeing how they can use AI to their advantage, whether that means in a creative sense or in like a software sense. Because for me, I could understand using AI to assist you in coding and even kind of coming up with ideas.
That's the thing too. Like with AI, it's how you use it, right? Because let me tell you something. Spider-Verse uses AI, but it doesn't use AI for the animation on like rebuilding an entire image, just helping with movements and stuff like that. Like when an animator is actually animating something, just having AI kind of fill in the blanks with the sketch marks and stuff like that. Not recreating an entire fucking scene. Like, I don't know if you saw they did like Fantastic Four used by AI, and it's just like people awkwardly standing there as they're like their bodies are like slowly like how AI videos. It's like they're always like weirdly always moving. That's bullshit use of AI. AI used as a tool is better, but AI used as a the only creative purpose is kind of crappy. Well, not even kind of, is disgusting.
I think it is abhorrent, especially in terms of voice acting, because this is literally like people's jobs. I mean, it's the same thing as the writer's strike. Not saying that those aren't people's jobs either, but like you are taking what kind of helped boost the video game industry in the last like decade. You would not have the Last of Us TV show without the excellent work that the voice actors and the motion capture did,
Baker,
in those games. Yes, there were video game stories that have came out, but there is no denying that what Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson did in the first Last of Us was not instrumental in creating this bigger movement of story-based video games. Yes, there was Metal Gear Solid and everything, and I'm not denying that. But it's The Last of Us. Like let's not fucking kid ourselves. That game.
Yeah, and you hate The Last of Us. You hate it so much. You hate everything about The Last of Us.
I
love The Last of Us 2.
I love The Last of Us 2. I think it is a fantastic game. I mean, look at some of the games. Look at some of the other companies that are on this list. You've got Insomniac Games too. You've got Warner Brother Games. You got Take-Two.
Wait, Insomniac is using AI?
These are companies that are dude, I'm telling you, every company is trying to incorporate AI in some form or another. And in this instance, some of these it is a very broad bargaining team that they're trying to speak to. So they're probably hitting a lot of different developers and a lot of different publishers in regards to AI. So, and it's very difficult for some of these games to continue not difficult, but not a lot of games are stuck. There are still a lot of games that are like still being created, because you know how like production halted without their writers. Right. A lot of games are not halting because there's no voice actors, because unfortunately a lot of these projects and the early stages of these projects, the voice acting is already done. Yeah. So essentially it is for games that are still at the very early stages of their development. So like for example, GTA 6, at this point, since the game is coming out sometime next year, the voice acting is all set. So the game is going to, if people continue working on that game, they're not scabs. They are fine. But if a new game is being developed and they're part of one of these companies, then yes, you will be considered a scab and you'll be crossing the picket line, and that is bad. You will be ousted from the unions and kind of blacklisted in a way. So in terms of us as gamers, there's nothing that we have to worry about. We can keep playing video games all we want. It's more so just like at this point, do you want to support these companies? And the problem with that issue, which I've always had an issue with, is that if you strike a video game, if you do like a buyer strike, you are not just harming the big boys, you are harming the developers and the software engineers and everybody who's made the game. So like it's a double-edged sword at the end of the day. Yes, we should vote with our wallets, we should do all of that, but don't forget the little man that you could affect not purchasing a video game. For example, no one's buying Concord right now. I know that game is good. I know that game. I heard it's like just a worse Overwatch. I mean, nothing's worse than Overwatch 2. I'm gonna be honest with you. But what I know about Concord is that it's made by ex-Bungie developers and made by ex-Battlefield developers. So I'm hearing a lot of the gunplay and the regular gameplay is fun. What's not fun is the mechanics of the game, kind of like how the team compositions are supposed to work and how boosts work. I hear that is not good, and it's actually very much like invasive towards a good play style for this genre. But then on top of that, no one's fucking buying the game because no one's 2024 who's paying $40 for what looks like, you said, like a live service, a free to play. Yeah, it's not worth. They should be making their money off of the cash, the
microtransactions and all that shit.
Yeah, they were kind of stupid on that. We'll see what Sony does with this fucking game, because I feel like they were doing that because they were like, man, Helldivers succeeded with a $40 price tag. Concord has to as well. Not when the fucking first person shooter market, a majority of their high profile competitive games are all free to play. You're shooting yourself in the foot doing that.
Helldivers has a unique tone to it that's not similar to Overwatch or anything like that. Whereas like Concord is just like, all right, this seems pretty familiar. This seems like what was that Bubble one that like failed that Sony tried to push? It was like Sony's Splatoon.
That wasn't Sony, that was Square Enix.
Foam Stars?
Yeah, Foam Stars, and that was Square.
Foam Stars.
That wasn't Sony.
If I want Splatoon, I'll just play Splatoon. I don't need 5 Below Splatoon. Speaking of 5 Below, you look like the 5 Below version of Neil Druckmann.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
No. I know you want to,
compliment. I take that as a goddamn compliment, you dumb motherfucker.
Well, I'm talking about recent Neil Druckmann. I'm not talking just Last of Us.
What about recent?
Your post Last of Us 2 And
what does he look like right now?
Nah, he looks all right. I'm just saying.
Yeah, what's wrong with the guy? I'm looking at pictures of him right now. He looks fine.
No, I'm just saying that you look like a schlubbier version of him right now.
Oh, damn. Do you think he supports Israel? Oh, no.
I don't know.
He's Israeli. He probably does. Oh, no. Uh-oh.
Okay.
I'll talk about politics. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I don't know much about.
Speaking of, oh yeah, don't worry. We will not talk about politics in this in these streams.
We just make fun of Hassan. That's it. And Destiny. And Ben Shapiro.
You make fun of Hassan.
I know you're a dick rider for Mr. Piker. You're a tier 3 sub.
Not that I dick ride. I think a lot of people's.
I've never heard you say a negative thing about him in my life.
Because I have nothing negative to say about him. I agree with a lot of his opinions.
You're right.
Like,
he shouldn't pause videos. He should just steal content.
I do that though. That's my problem. I also watch videos and pause. Like Jenny, every time I pause a video to talk about it.
Between you and your own house, but when you're making money while streaming and just being like, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. You're gone for 5 minutes. The video's just playing. It's
okay, that's XQC.
That's bullshit.
That's XQC.
Mostly that's XQC.
Awful.
He's the worst.
He is the worst when it comes to that.
But Hassan doesn't admit that he's wrong. He's just like, what am I supposed to do? Starve? It's like, dude, you're a multimillionaire. Shut the fuck up. If you just click the fucking pause button. It's so easy. It's a button.
Oh no, he does click the fucking pause button. He does click
while
the pause
he's talking,
button.
But when he's leaving, he doesn't. Well, maybe he's changed now, but back then, he didn't fucking do that shit. If I saw Hassan do that to one of my videos, I would have been so fucking angry. Because the Hassan fans are not visiting the video. They're not doing it. They're just like,
I typically do.
Me like Hassan.
Especially I watch another
10%.
I watch another YouTuber. His name's Astacross. He's a Destiny YouTuber. Mm-hmm. And he does reaction videos, and he will be watching the video for 5-10 minutes in his reaction video, and he doesn't say a fucking word. So now I've now gotten to it being I'm gonna watch whatever these people are gonna talk about first, mm-hmm. and then watch their reaction, because
which is what you should do, but I feel like the majority of the audience does not do that. Otherwise,
no, because people wanna hear their big streamer react to it. They don't want to hear.
You know who does it the best is Charlie, not Charlie XC. What the fuck? Moist Critical. Moist Critical does it best. He'll get 5 minutes in. He's like, I think I get the point of this. If you guys want to go support this, check this out. He doesn't finish the. I think that's perfect because it's wait, I want to hear the rest of this video. I think that's a perfect way to do it.
I like what really Ludwig does too in his Mogul Mail stuff. He'll just take segments out of a video.
Yeah.
Talk about the segments and then continue his own perspective and criticism of the video or whatever.
That's all respectful. I like Ludwig. He's okay.
Yeah, he's okay until we find out he also did something bad to a minor or something. Who fucking knows?
Wait,
God,
did he?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
Because it's just.
I mean, listen. This year is crazy with this stuff. Doctor Disrespect and shit. And he's like, "You're playing chess, I'm playing checkers," and then the people replying under that tweet being like, "Is a minor on the other side of the fucking."
Yeah, dude, that shit's
so fun. That's just so funny. Oh my god.
But yeah, I think what's the biggest thing about the strikes though is that nobody's really talking about it. I'm actually kind of surprised that it isn't a bigger thing.
It's not a big thing.
The writer's block, the writer's strike.
Seen. Yeah, I mean, I think it's unfortunate because I don't know. I think the perception of voice actors is it's not too. How do I put this in words? People care about voice acting, obviously, but it's only people who are my mom doesn't care about voice actors at all. Couldn't give a shit. If every animated movie was voice acted by Tom Hanks, she'd be absolutely thrilled by it.
Yeah.
She'd go day one. Where it's more in the, I don't want to call it niche because, gaming and anime and stuff like that is such a big thing. But it's not the majority of the population that's like knows who can even name a voice actor off the top of their head. There's people who don't know who the fuck Troy Baker is, and he's probably, if not him and Nolan North, are probably the biggest voice actors. Don
DiMaggio.
People like that.
Kevin Conroy.
I think
Kevin
there's
Conroy.
not a big crowd like that, where it's like movie writing and actors and stuff like that. And they all kind of happened during that same time, so like it really uplifted the writing thing and stuff like that. Whereas voice actors, unfortunately, I don't think it's as respected as, say, writing or actual acting. Whereas voice acting and stuff, like, it could just be like The Last of Us, voice acting, but they do motion capture and stuff. It is a form of acting, and like voice acting does take a toll. The guy who voices Goku, his voice, he's like, my voice fucking burns whenever I have to do a Goku transformation scene.
It's
like
a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, and to just be like, beep, boop, 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 oh, just AI voice. It's bullshit.
I think what changes about all of what's different about this versus the writer strike is that it's not bringing gaming to a halt, whereas with movies it was like even in the middle of a production you can't continue.
Ryan Reynolds couldn't improvise on Deadpool because he was technically like a writer of some sort in that, so that's why Deadpool was halted. Deadpool and Wolverine, that is. Like there was a story about that. Like, literally Hollywood was halted, and like what you're saying too, the gaming industry just keep trucking along. We're like, oh, Wulong, oh, Warhammer. We're not just like, damn, there's nothing coming out. Nah, shit's still coming out.
That's what I was saying. Like, pretty much most projects that are coming out like next year and the year after, they're done. There's very little voice acting they need to do. But for new games coming out or even renewing contracts for certain games, you can't sign to those contracts. That would be crossing the picket line, especially if you're part of the union. So I think that's why people aren't talking about it. But I know people have been talking about this story, which is the Bungie layoffs, which I was alluding to earlier with the layoffs in general. Do you know anything about the layoffs?
Not at all. I mean, I knew during the Game Awards there were a bunch of layoffs, but after that, I don't know anything.
So this just happened about a month ago. And this is a month after Destiny 2, The Final Shape was released, which was critically acclaimed. People loved The Final Shape. Everyone liked it. And they still laid off 17% of their workforce because this was planned regardless of whether or not The Final Shape did well, which they confirm in this article, which was written by the CEO of Bungie, Pete Parsons. A lot of people criticize him because he lays off people, and then in like a day later tweet, he's like, "Hey guys, check out my cool retro cars." I think when people equate stuff like that, it's missing the point of what this argument is. It's not that. Yes, it is also the fact that like these CEOs and these people in these executive positions are making
CEOs are going to be CEOs.
Yeah, they're already making millions of dollars regardless of what we say. And they should be compensated for the work they do.
Yeah.
But the issue of this is poor management, which Sony has been alluding to since the first round of layoffs, that Bungie has very, 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 very poor management, which is now why a majority of their board is full of Sony executives. It is not just Bungie executives. They are no longer independent in this regard. Sony is now in there with them to kind of steer this ship in the right direction. Hopefully, we don't know. Originally, people who loved Bungie was thinking that, Bungie going independent from Activision would steer them in the right direction. Here we are 5 years later, about 5-6 years later. They are in a worse state than when they started. They went from, I think, 1,200 to now 800 staff members in the span of 6 months. To be fair, about 150 members of Bungie moved on to Sony projects. So they're no longer part of Bungie, but they still have jobs, which is good. But 220 other employees have been let go completely. And I know that you're a big fan of Bungie in regards to Halo. We've talked about Halo together, so I know that
but
this company
we both recently watched a video.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I have that video sitting here.
It's interesting. I mean, I know the man's political opinions is not the Actman, but a Mark. Oh God, what's his name? Shit.
I want to pull up the video.
Yeah,
I won't
pull up the video.
Play it in full, but I thought I had it up. My bad, stream. I'm usually better about that. Marty O'Donnell. Marty O'Donnell. He goes because he's one of the founding members of Bungie. And he goes into the depth of like the lore from his perspective. So when watching this video, take it with a grain of salt that everything he's saying, because it could be very biased. He was also sued from the company. Not sued. He was fired from the company and then subsequently sued the company because of stocks that were taken away from him. He was let go right around the time his stocks were maturing. There is very, very, very huge incentive for him to be angry and potentially lying about what he's saying. However, learning about the backstories of some of the people who are currently at Bungie gives him some sort of air of levity because he's one of the OGs, whereas now a majority of the members are old Microsoft executives.
Yeah, and it's even funny just him talking about how like Bungie kept at some point it was like, oh, Bungie's independent from Microsoft, but it was always a Microsoft-based company. That was always like a blanketed lie, kind of like they would allow them to do certain things, but for the most part, they were under the boot and heel of Microsoft and stuff like that. Obviously, like what you were saying, he was saying some not very nice things about some of the founders of Bungie. So it is revealing. But again, it's one man's word. So far, I don't think any one of those parties have responded to him, from my knowledge.
I doubt anyone would respond to this video, because then that would just give legitimacy to what he's saying.
Right.
Which would be smarter to keep quiet than to speak on what he said. However, I do think there is good stuff to take away from this, because it is very clear that the culture at Bungie has changed dramatically since even Destiny 1. I don't know if you know about the VGC conversation that Bungie had a while ago. It was, I think, in like 2018, 2019, or whenever The Witch Queen came out. So 2 years ago. So 2022, sorry.
Sure.
They had a VGC conference where they were talking about live service games, because ultimately Bungie is one of the leading companies when it comes to developing a live service game. Regardless of how you feel about Destiny, Destiny is one of the biggest live service video games out there. It's the whole reason why Sony bought them for $3.6 billion. They went from like making games we love to playing video games with your friends. They kind of changed their motto and their perspective. And they've also, like, one of the quotes they're attributed of saying is, it's not about the quantity of game, it's not about the quality of the game, it's about the velocity of the game. Meaning it's about how fast can you make the product versus how much quality do you put behind the product. And while I understand their perspective a little bit, because when it comes to live service games, you don't want to take too long to build up your your game and feeding content to your players. But then there's the quality of the game, and that's what happened to Destiny, where it was hit with such high expectations, and it's just been failing ever since. But the final shape, it did really well, and they still laid off a bunch of people. It's actually really tragic to see that, especially after the kind of culture that Bungie is facilitating there, where their insider reporters are saying that insider sources are saying that management keeps saying this is the one that's going to make or break the company, and that's what they said about the final shape, and they still laid off people. So they're not saying Marathon is what's going to make or break the company, and it's the only other new project. There was like 15 projects in the pipeline for Destiny or for Bungie, and they shut down all of them except for Marathon and Destiny. And then they moved another one of the projects, Project Gummy Bears, to a new company that is made up of now ex-Bungie employees working under Sony. So it is very clear that Bungie is not in a good place, man. They are not in a good place. And I know that you're somebody you're somebody who loves Destiny and Bungie, you are looking from the outside in. Even though you have a history with
Bungie up until Reach.
And yeah, I mean, a lot of people are like that. People weren't excited for Destiny. I mean,
I never thank God, because, I was able to go outside, feel the sun on my face, feel the sun on my skin.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Go back to let's look at all your action figures in your fucking room.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. Did you get rid of a majority of those, or did you leave them at your parents'?
The model kits, you mean? The Gundams?
Yeah.
Yeah, half of them are over in my parents. I have the majority of the basement is my stuff.
Damn, that's crazy.
Once we eventually, hopefully, get a house, I will be either. Well, I sold a bunch of stuff, but I have a couple things here and there.
That's cool.
I have this awesome Alien poster that I have no room for, and I'm kind of tight about it.
Put it in the bathroom.
Alien. Yeah, Steph will love that.
Why not?
In space, no one can hear you scream.
I have a Spider-Man poster in my living room, or in my kitchen, so,
Yeah.
But, yeah, what do you think?
Well, I got all my Lord of the Rings book in the living room, and I have the Lego Rivendell thing in the kitchen.
That looks cool.
What are you trying to say about the best movie of all time?
Yeah, okay. But what do you think about these layoffs? As somebody,
you're right. You think Iron Man's the best movie of all time? You're right.
I do.
You're so right. You're so right. I can't wait for him to play Doctor Doom. It's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's gonna revive Marvel. It's gonna be so good. It's not creatively bankrupt. The whole Robert Downey Jr.'s fee for being in that movie is the entirety of Alien.
I asked you about the layoffs.
Anyways,
what
about Marvel?
No. Marvel.
No, I mean, obviously, layoffs are not good at any time, but it does seem like what you're saying. It was very much strategized. We've seen, it's bad. There have been really bad examples as well, like Telltale. Well, they're just like, nah, we're good, guys. We are all good. And then, a week, they're just like, hey, the company's done. Sorry, pack your things. And it's like, what the fuck?
With Bungie, they just overextended themselves. They did so many new projects. They thought they were hot shit.
And a lot of times, too, they'll hire a bunch of people. When they're coming out with an expansion, let's say they're overworked and stuff, they'll hire a bunch of new people. Hire. And then all of a sudden, once that expansion's out, it's all set to go. It's like, all right, get the fuck out of here. It's that kind of, spit... or chew and spit mentality, it's bad for the industry, especially because these fuckers, these hard workers are crunching hours and hours, and yet their reward for that is fucking see ya, severance package, fuck yourself.
Not even a severance package. Some of these people,
it's brutal. And the gaming industry, it's a hard industry to get into. Because it's not like you have once a project is done, it's like, where's my next line of work? Sure, there are some people that stick around, but a lot of times, these gaming employees will shift around and stuff up to the next thing to just be cut short and be like, all right, get the fuck out. It's like, so it's rough, you know.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more with that. I mean, it's just the way I just think the handling of Bungie itself is completely corrupt and backwards.
It's not the indie darling that we all loved during Halo. It's now just corporate. I mean, it was always corporate, but like, you know, I mean, it's more vicious, I would say.
They weren't the champions that broke away from Activision and decided to go independent.
Right.
They are scummy, money hungry, and it affects the workers. And it's really sad. And they're failing their workers. And even Sony's recognizing that, which is actually a good thing. I think while in the immediate aftermath of hearing the news that Sony might take over Bungie, it was seen as a bad thing, especially coming off like people getting PTSD about Activision. Seeing how the company is now with more layoffs, it is very clear they need people that give a shit about the game step in and take charge of the company. And I hope in the future, you know, that these Sony executives know where they're going based off of Concord and based off of the shitty thing they did with Helldivers. Who fucking knows? But
that's why Warhammer is going to save the day.
Yeah.
Warhammer is going to be the Messiah. I also wanted to show off a little, since this wasn't intentional, by the way. Okay. I just had this at my previous work, because we had a bunch of 3D printers. I got a little Master Chief.
Oh, that's cool.
Master Chief thing. Yeah, look at that.
What a good way to end. What a good way to cap us off here, JJ. But
listen, Bungie may be shit, but goddamn, these games hold a special place in my goddamn heart.
Yeah, Halo's awesome. Yeah. JJ, do you have anything you want to share at the end of our stream here?
Warhammer